Okay, let us wait for 2-3 minutes. Okay, so let us start the class. Able to see my screen?
Yeah, sure. Able to.
Okay. So today onwards we are going to start the AWS classes. So AWS is a cloud platform where all the IT companies are currently migrating or moving from their old infrastructure to the AWS cloud. So why the cloud is become very popular and why cloud is become very easy. We can easily manage our work with the cloud. So just I will give a brief introduction about the cloud, then we'll move to the AWS cloud. Okay. So what is meant by cloud is nothing but all IT resources. So IT resources is nothing but when it comes to the IT resources. Okay. So if you are working in a company, okay, so you people maybe will know only the development work. So you know, like we are working on the Java development, .NET development, testing development. Okay, so this type of terminology you will be hearing about. Okay, so but when we are working with the IT company, there are a lot of people are involved in a particular project or in an organization. For example, if you want to create any, if you want to allocate any system for you, so those people we are going to call it as a system admins. Okay, so if you want to access your network, like from one system to another system, if you want to communicate it, so your team is working in one location, you are working in particular A location, and your teammate is working in B location, that is in geographic location or within India. Like how the communication happens from your system to how you are able to communicate with the other system which is present in the other network. Like suppose, for example, we are in, you are working in Hyderabad, your teammate is working in Bangalore location, but still that person is able to communicate to you. He can access your system, and you are also able to access his system. Okay, so this type of communication we are happening, and if you want to access your system from your home address or from home location to your system, how they are happening. Okay, so all these things comes under the networking. Okay, so communication from one system to another system, or you are accessing your system from your home or from the local, what the server which is available in a company network. So that system we are accessing from the outside or inside your organization, or from one network to the other network, entire communication happening through network. So those concepts we are considering as the networking. Okay. Suppose if you want to store your data, okay, you want to store your files. Okay. So database will be, there will be separate database team will be there. So there will be storage team will be there. Okay, storage team is nothing but where the files you are storing in your local machine, D drive, C drive, E drive, how we are having something like a network file system will be there. So in that also we can store our things. So taking the backups, handling the data, which are longer period of there. So all these things will be handling by the storage team. Okay, so in order to deliver any kind of a project, so there are lots of people are involved in it. Okay, so one is project manager, technical lead, developers, testers, okay, maintenance team, support team, infra team. Okay, so all these people are a combination of these people only. We are going to deliver the product. So multiple teams are involved in it. For example, networking team, database team, infrastructure. If you want to set up infrastructure for your organization or for your project, there will be infra team will be there. And if you want to set up the database configurations, Java developer can't do the database settings. So what is the table structure? What is the schema? What is the storage procedures? Okay. So there will be a database team for it. And if you want to provide the storage solution and you want to maintain the storage of your application, so there will be a storage team will be there. Like that, there are lots of teams are involved in it. And due to this, what happened in the real-time scenarios, if any earthquakes happen to your building, okay, so any network loss, okay, so any unexpected activity which is happened in the organization level or the building level where we are maintaining all these activities, so we can't recover it. Okay, so data loss, recovery, disaster, any kind of activity may be happen. So that's the reason what they are doing it. So in order to move your applications, or if you want to move your project work smoother, anyway, so now all the organizations are moving to the cloud platforms. Okay, so for entire application which you are required to perform any kind of activity, and which all the teams which are involved in the AWS, which are involved in project, all the activities we can performing in the single platform. That platform we are going to call it as a cloud. Okay, so cloud is nothing but collection of IT resources, and we can play around with IT resources. So if you want to create a database, for example, if you want to have a Linux OS, so what we need to do? We need to purchase the license key for it. If you want to set up the Oracle database, so database team want to set up the one Oracle. So what we need to do? Again, we need to contact the Oracle team. So how many users want to access the Oracle database? So those many users, we need to purchase the license. So whole process, it will take lot of time. For example, you have joined the organization. You want to upgrade your RAM from 4 GB to 8 GB. Your system is very slow. So you requested your manager that I want to upgrade my RAM from current RAM to the new RAM. You have to send a mail to the manager. Manager has to approve, and the mail has to go to the system admins. They have to come and they have to replace in your organization level. So this is the whole process it will take for if you have the system which is in front of you are working daily. Okay, if you want to work with any type of application or system level resources or anything, you need to have a lot of process involved in it. But when it comes to the cloud, within a fraction of minutes, we can do any kind of activity. So cloud is nothing but it's a platform, all the IT resources. So which organization level you are working with different kind of a teams. It may be any kind of a domain, machine learning, data analytics, database. Okay, so big data, Java based data, PHP, Python, any kind of application you want to work with a project. So that will be suitable for the small based organizations and large based organization. anything organizations, it will be suitable by the cloud. Okay, so there are a lot of services are available by providing by this type of clouds. So if you want to work with any type of a application, so what are the best services you want to choose for this? So we are, it's cloud is providing the platform, all the services are available for us, just use it and pay for me. So it's a platform is pay and use kind of thing, which was using by the cloud. Okay, so if you want to access the cloud, you can travel anywhere, not only geographic location, you can travel anywhere and you can access all the resources. If you have the permissions, if you are able to carry your laptop, okay, so no need to go to the office, no need to sit your in front of the system. When you log in, then only we can access it. Okay, for example, any file is there in your system, you are restricted to within the organization level. You need to rush to the office and you need to do it. Okay, so previously what happened before the cloud is came into picture, suppose I want to work with a project, we require 100 systems. So previously what they have to do, they are not going to buy 100 systems. So they are going to take the lease of 100 systems in order to do the cost cutting. For example, same thing if you want to do your application deployment, if you want to maintain your application maintenance. Okay, so development work, only the people are hired for the development work. Remaining all the things, your application deployments, and you want to deploy your application. And if you want to maintain that application, you want to make a releases, new versions of applications you want to deploy it. All these activities has to be maintained by the third-party organizations before the cloud came into picture. Okay, so in order to avoid all these kind of activities, so they have introduced the cloud. So you can design your own application, you can design your own infrastructure, you can design your own database. Okay, within a fraction of minutes, you can set up entire project level, we can do it. Okay, all the IT resources which are required for a project or organization level, all the things we can available in a single cloud platform. Okay, so this is the way we can define the cloud. Cloud is nothing but collection of all IT resources which we can manage it. Okay, in a single point. That is a cloud platform. Okay, so there are lots of cloud platforms are available here. AWS, Google Cloud, IBM Cloud, Microsoft. Okay, so every company like they have started involving the requirements of IT, like IT resources. Why to suppose if you want to purchase a book, no need to go to the shop and no need to buy the book. So what we will do, we can go to the online, we can order the book will come to our place only. Same thing here, we are applicable to the IT resources also. So if you want to buy your laptop or desktop or this type of windows with this type of configurations are required. So we need to rush to the thing or we need to go to the online. Okay, but if you want to upgrade this, we need to again do the whole process. We need to buy in the online only. It will take minimum these many days will happen, 3 to 4 days if you want to do the upgradation. For example, you have buy one Windows system with 8 GB RAM, but for our application, you are doing some games activities in your laptop. So you need to upgrade it from 18 GB to 16 GB. So again, we need to make online purchase and we will upgrade it. But this will take some process, like we need to book it, 1 day delivery or 2 days delivery will happen. But here in the cloud, within a fraction of minutes, we can upgrade or we can degrade it, everything here. Okay, so single solution cloud, what are the IT requirements which are required for organization level? It may be a small based organization or large based organization. All the activities, storage team, infra team, networking team. Okay, so permissions, application deployment, maintenance, DevOps activities, anything, which type of activity we are performing in the organization level, all activities we can perform in a cloud platform. Okay, so coming to the lot of companies are started working in the cloud. So they are giving the best to competency with all the things. But last 10 years onwards, AWS is the #1 platform, cloud platform from the last 10 years. Okay, so almost all the companies trying to beat this company, but they are near to us, but they are not able to beat the AWS. Okay, so AWS is the number one. So this was developed by Amazon company. Okay, so Amazon company, they have started working with few services. So they are keep on adding the services in the AWS. So what are the IT requirements based upon the requests coming from the IT requirement? So they have started developing the service. I have the requirement for the machine learning. So for machine learning, they have one solution, one service is there. So I want to work with database. What type of databases you want? So AWS is providing the platform just to use the services which is providing for us. Okay, so same thing, how the Amazon has developed the AWS, same thing other companies like Google, Microsoft. Okay, so all these companies also, they also have started the platforms, cloud platforms they have introduced. Okay, so Microsoft company, they have introduced the Azure. Okay, Azure is completely, it's a .NET based. Okay, so because Microsoft mainly focus on the .NET, so Azure is the cloud platform which was provided by the Microsoft company. Okay, so Google Cloud, so they have introduced the GCP. Okay, so if you heard the terminology called AWS, GCP, Azure. Okay, so these are different type of cloud platforms. All the cloud platforms will be doing the same activity, only the UI and the naming conventions will be vary. So remaining the concept wise, if you go anywhere in any cloud, concept is same. So if we want to do the networking, CADR block, IP addresses, okay, the concept will be same for all the cloud platforms, but the UI will be different, look and different will be there, and naming conventions, they are different. If you want to create a server in AWS, we are going to call it as a EC2. There will be one more naming convention in the other cloud platform. Okay, so if you want to learn other cloud platforms also, the concept wise will be very everywhere will be same. Networking, database, storage, okay, servers, application deployment. Okay, so the process will be same and terminology will be same. Only the naming conventions and UI part will be vary from each other. Okay, so IBM also have their own cloud platform. So that is IBM Cloud. Okay, so you may get a chance in the real-time scenario. You may chance to get work in any cloud platform. Okay, so for the interview perspective, they will tell that. So if you have good at combination of anything, so you can have the good with. So if you are good at Linux administrator, you are good. Okay, so plus any cloud platform, it may be AWS and cloud. So you will have the addition to your skill set, and you will get good calls for it. Okay, same thing. If you are good at only I know AWS, okay, so don't go with AWS. So go with additional tools like Python. Okay, AWS with anything, DevOps, like that. Okay, so instead of AWS, you can go with any cloud platform. So even if you know the any one of the cloud platform, they will tell that are you interested to move to the one platform to another platform? Yes, I'm interested to move from one platform to another platform, because they will ask the questions where which services you know it. Okay, so each services will have each cloud platform will have different kind of a services. Okay, so this is a basic introduction of AWS. Okay, cloud computing and AWS. So next we will have the types of cloud computing. What are the types? Okay, so types is nothing but we have IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. Okay, so what is meant by cloud computing? Then what are the cloud computing types? Okay, so first one is IaaS, means infrastructure as a service. This one is a platform. This is software as service. Okay, so cloud computing is nothing but collection of IT resources which are required for any organization to perform any kind of activity for the IT organization, like creating the servers, creating the storage, networking, any type of database. Okay, so any kind of activity which are performing in the IT organization. So from day when you step into the company and step out, you are leaving from the organization. all the activities which are performing in the company. So same kind of activities we are going to performing in the cloud. Okay, so no need to go to the company. So we can perform all the activities from the cloud itself. Okay, so that's the reason all the companies are migrating to the cloud. So that is the definition of cloud computing. So we have different cloud platforms are available. So AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, IBM. Okay, so top one is the AWS one. So next Azure is giving the high competition for the AWS. So almost trying to reach it and try to beat it. So most of the people are looking for the AWS and Azure. Okay, so some companies they choose the Google Cloud based upon the requirement. So if you are good at AWS, so we can easily learn other platforms also. Azure and AWS is the currently trending one. Okay, so next coming to the types of cloud computing, like how many types are there? So there are three types are there, like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So what is meant by infrastructure as a service? Infrastructure as a service is nothing but if you want to set up a complete infrastructure for my organization. Infrastructure is nothing but we have a plain company is there. So how to set up the company infrastructure? Infrastructure is nothing but so if I want to give access to the teammates, so we need to have the network setup. So if you want to deploy your application or if you want to perform any coding activities, we require a server. Server is nothing but in our terminology, we can call it as a system. So inside the system, what type of OS we require, what are the configurations are required, all these things will come as a infrastructure. Okay, if you want to build infrastructure for your organization, so there are particular services are available. So these are services to create an infrastructure for your organization. Same kind of activity, if you want to perform multiple activity, multiple times. Suppose I want to create one server, same identical server, I want to create 20 servers because 20 teammates are there. All the teammates will have the same kind of configurations. So those type of things we are going to call it as a infrastructure as a service. So for example, we have Terraform. Terraform is one of the infrastructure as a service. So have you worked on IaaS or infrastructure as a service? They will ask it. So completely infrastructure we are building with the help of the single solution like Terraform. So when it comes to the AWS, we have the CloudFormation templates. Okay, so with the help of if you are restricted to only single cloud, I want to work with only single cloud AWS. So we can go with the CloudFormation templates. So this is the one service which help us to create the complete infrastructure for our company. Okay. So next thing is a Terraform. It will be supported for the multiple cloud platforms. I want to create infrastructure in Google Cloud. I want to create infrastructure in GCP. I want to go with IBM, AWS. Okay. So Terraform is the one single solution. It will be supported multiple cloud platforms. Only if you want to go with AWS, as we are learning the AWS. So CFT, CloudFormation template will help us to create the infrastructure. Okay. So these are the two solutions we can give for the infrastructure as a service. Okay. So what is meant by platform as a service? So once the infrastructure is ready. Okay. So infrastructure is ready is nothing but I have created one server. Server creation is done. Now managing the infrastructure or deploying the applications. Okay. Infrastructure is ready. Now I want to manage the infrastructure. So EC2 is created. So for example, one server is created. I want to deploy the application. Okay. So you want to deploy your application. You want to set up Java, .NET, PHP in that server. Okay. So I want to upgrade that server. Means managing the infrastructure will comes under the platform as a service. Okay. So next is finally we have the software as a service. Okay, software as a service is nothing but the entire product they will give it. The entire product they will give for us. Just we need to use the service. For example, Gmail. If you take a Gmail, Gmail is a software as a service. Means the entire software product is given for us. We don't have the option to modify it. We don't have the option to add new feature in it. already the features are available here. Just we are using the features for it. Features for ourselves. Okay. If you want to compose email, if you want to send email, okay. Already that feature is available. We are not going to create a new feature. We are not going to edit the features. Okay. The product is already available. If you want to use that product, then it will comes under the software as a service. Okay. So entire product will be given for us, Gmail, Yahoo, anything you will take it. Okay. So these are called as a software as a product. Entire software will be given for us. Just we are utilizing the using the software for our sake based upon our requirement. Okay. So these are the different types of cloud platforms we are having it. So any doubts, guys? Till now, any questions?
No, bro, nothing.
Okay. Okay. So infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software service. These are the things, basic information we should know about the cloud platform. Okay. So next we have the types of clouds. Okay. So we have public, private, hybrid. Okay. So public cloud is nothing but anybody can access the cloud. So private is nothing but within the organization. So hybrid is nothing but the cloud which supports both public and private. So some of the service we can access only through private, we can restrict it, and some of the service we can expose to the outside the world. So these type of services, we have three types of clouds are available. So public, private, and hybrid mode, hybrid cloud. Okay. So these are the three types of a cloud. So when it comes to the AWS now, so this is the basic introduction for the cloud. Now we are going to have the AWS. So AWS is also one type of a cloud platform. We can manage the complete IT resources. Okay. So what IT company is looking for project, what type of project you are handling. So what are your requirements? All the requirements which are required for you to work with the complete project involved with multiple people and multiple domain stacks. Okay. Database, infrastructure, storage, okay, networking, any type of a concept you have it. So for in order to handle any kind of a project, it may be any kind of a project, it will be suitable for small and large organization. All these activities we can perform in a single cloud platforms. That is one of the cloud platform is AWS. Okay. So in these things, we are going to discuss about the some of the services. So the first service is IAM. Okay. So IAM is nothing but, so the person who is logged into the AWS account, so what type of permissions we want to give to the users. Okay. So permissions. Okay. So for example, this is my AWS account. This is my AWS account. So in this AWS account, we have multiple services are there. So for example, EC2 is one type of a service. So when I'm logged into this AWS account, whether I can view this, I have the permissions to view this service, I can perform any operations on these services, all the restrictions, account level, AWS account level restrictions. So I'm not want to use VPC because I'm not part of the networking. So the networking relating services, they don't give the permissions for view access, read access, write access. Okay. All this access giving the permissions for the user, the person who is going to log into the AWS account, what type of permissions we want to give for the user, all the restrictions can be happen at the IAM level. Okay. So this will be like a identity and access management. Okay. So IAM stands for identity and access management. So it will be completely dealing with your permissions. The person who is logging to the AWS account. Okay. So what type of permissions we want to give it? So based upon the project requirement, so he is going to working only 3 services. So we need to give the access for the read access for 3 services because the organization level, Account will be one only, and the project handling will be happen to the multiple people. Okay, so we have different environments will be there. So for each environment, we have separate AWS account will be there. And each AWS account, multiple teams are handling using that AWS account. Okay, so based upon your logging, so you want to put the restriction for the user level. Okay, so I want to restrict that he can't be the database information. So we can restrict that. So database access, we can restrict it. Okay, all these activities we can give under the IMA. Okay, so next we have the CLI. Okay, so this is command line interface. Okay, so we can perform our activities by using 3 ways. Okay, so one is AWS Management Console. This is UA. So we can create the resources from the UA, another through CLI. Through CLI also, we can create the resources. And also, if you are really interested in the coding part, so developer coding. Okay, so if you have good at Java, .NET, PHP. Okay, so we can create the resources in 3 ways. One is development, writing the code, and we can run the code. We can create the resources through command line also. We can do it. Okay, so one more first option is console, UI based one. Okay, so in this part, we don't have the coding on the console part. Directly, we can have the UI based is there. Just click the buttons and various options we need to use it and create the resources. Okay, so 3 ways we can do it. So one of the console part we are already seen in the last DevOps sessions. So now we are going to work in the console only, and how to create the resources with CLI also I will show you. Okay, so next part we are going to discuss about the EC2. Okay, EC2 is a server creations. Okay, so what type of server you require? Okay, so how to take the backups of the server? So if you lost the server, what are the ways we can do it? So how to increase the volume for the server, like how to create a backups of your server. Okay, so how to restrict the access to the server level. Okay, so all these things, firewalls, all the things we can discuss at the EC2 level. EC2 is nothing but system admin related work. So when you log into the company, like they will allocate one system for you, right? Same thing, we can create a multiple servers. Here we are going to call it as a server. So what type of server you require? So what type of OS you require? All the information we can get it from the EC2. Okay, so next we have the load balancers. We have auto scaling. Let me write. We have the VPC, S3, Lambda, CloudFormation, queuing service, CloudWatch, CloudTrail, okay, so these are the services we are going to discuss in our AWS sessions. Okay, so first thing is already we discussed, right? So EC2 is a server creation. So you want Linux server or Ubuntu or Windows server Okay, so what type of specifications you require and what are the firewalls, like whom you want to give access from after login to the server, where you want to, which server you want to access, all the things we can discuss in the EC2 level. Okay, so load balancer why we required is nothing but, for example, this is one EC2 server. In EC2 server, you have deployed one application, right? So if any failure happen with your software or any hardware failure happen to this server, so the system will be go into the shutdown mode, or is any problem with the system, our application will also goes down. Okay, so the person which is accessing this application will not have the access. So in order to overcome these kind of a problems, so they have introduced the concept called load balancer. So load balancer is nothing but it's a group of servers will be there. So this is one group. So inside the group, we can have a multiple servers. And we have only single URL for it. Okay, so for example, this URL is okay. So when you go to the browser, when you type www.flipkart.com, so this is one of the DNS name. So when you type this DNS name, so this is the load balancer. How to set up the load balancer, we'll discuss it. So when you type the request here, so the request will goes to the any one of the servers which is present in the things. So if you have any problem with the system, so this system will go down. So remaining systems will be available here. So the request will be goes to the any one of the servers which are presenting in the load balancer. Okay, so this is the concept of load balancer, balancing the load. Okay, for example, based upon your system configurations, like 8 GB is there. So how many users can access it? How many requests we can send it? For example, 10,000 requests we can send it for the single system. So 11,000 requests if you are coming to the single server, so it is not able to handle that much load based upon your configurations. So either we need to go with scaling the servers, like increasing the configurations in the same servers, or we are adding the one more server to the group. Okay, so hello.
Shyam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you explain this ELB, this whatever load balancer concept again? I didn't get it.
Okay, sure. Okay, so if you're not using the load balancer concept, so what we will do? So we will have only, like we have one server is there. So in that server, we have deployed one Java-based application, for example. So there is any software failure or hardware failure happen in this system. Okay, so our application will go down. So in order to maintain your application 24/7 availability, and there should be no downtime of your applications. So all the companies who are following the mechanism of balancing the load, and that is called the load balancer. Okay, so that is concept of here. So here we are going to create a load balancer. In that load balancer, we have a multiple systems are available, servers we are having. So these servers are called as a identical servers. For example, this is Windows 7 system. So remaining all the systems also will be the Windows 7. Okay, so all the systems will have the same configuration, same identical systems. So when you are hitting the request, so the request goes to the which server is available free. The request will goes to that particular system and we will get the response. But in the front end, what we will think? So when you type the flipkart.com, we are able to view the application. Okay, so this is the concept of load balancer. Okay.
So do we select how many number of servers would be there in the load balancer?
Yeah, that we will do it.
So we can select that.
Yeah, we can select it. So there is a manual interaction will be there for selecting it. In order to make the automation, so that will comes under the auto scaling. Okay, scaling is nothing but add or remove servers in load balancer. Okay, so based upon that, suppose this system is handling only 1,000 requests. This system is able to handle 1,000. So almost 6,000 requests are there. Now again, we are getting the new request, 7,000 requests is handling. So these 6 systems can handle up to 6,000 requests only. Now the number of users are increasing and the number of users are accessing the application is more. So what we need to do? Automatically it should understand it. And if you are not able to handling the load by the servers, so we can add one more server to the adding server to the load balancer. Again, 7,000 request is completed. Now 8,000 requests came. What we need to do? Adding one more server. Okay, so adding the servers to the load balancer. So for example, if you see the shopping cart applications like Flipkart, Amazon, if you see it, so Monday to Friday, most of the people are busy there with their office works and personal works. Okay, but in the weekends, Saturday, Sundays, and most of the users accessing the application will be very high. Public holidays, or if you go for the normal holidays, because they will go to the browsing sections of the these e-commerce applications and they will start using it. So when it comes to the weekdays, weekends is the more accessing the application. So those type of users were accessing it. So as the number of users are increasing accessing the application, the performance of the application will goes down. So in that case scenarios, so it should automatically understanding the load and adding the servers. And if there is no much more load on the application, so we can start removing also. So Monday to Friday, we required 4 systems is enough because the number of users accessing our application is very low. But when it comes to the weekends, we required another 4 servers. Okay, so this concept of adding the servers and removing the servers automatically, so based upon your concept will comes under the auto scale. Okay, adding or removing the servers to the group based upon the conditions. So based upon which condition you want to add it. So there are lots of options are available. We can go with auto scale. Okay, so VPC is networking. Okay, so how the networking happens? Okay, so this is our system. So for your system, how you are getting IP address. Okay, so for every person, there is unique thing is there. For example, if you go for the student or the employee is the unique. For example, same thing for it will be applicable for the server. So if you go for my system, okay, so this is my system. Okay, so if you type ipconfig, okay, so if you type the ipconfig command, so we'll get the IP address. 192.168.0.105 is the uniqueness of my system. I have one IP address is allocated to me. Okay, so how the IP address is allocating to you? And there is one more system is there within the organization level. This is your organization and this is your system and this is your friend system. So how the two systems are able to communicate it? Okay, so if you are deploying your application here, I want to access this application outside the world. So this is company level, but here I want to access the application outside. So one application is there. I don't want to access that application outside the world. I want to keep inside the organization. So those type of restrictions, access level, communication from one system to another system. And this is one type of a network. This is your organization at Hyderabad location. This is a company network. So we have one more network at Bangalore location. So in Bangalore location also, your friend has also have one system, right? So how these two systems are able to communicate each other? Okay, how IP address is generating for your and your teammate, how he is generating. So we are into two different networks, how we are communicating to each other, how we are getting the access for each system. So how actually systems will work, how the VPN connections will work. Okay, so how we are able to access your system from the outside the world. Okay, all these networking concepts we can see in the VPC. Okay, so networking, IP address generation, how you are going to access your applications, how to give the restrictions to the access. Okay, all these things we can see in the networking. That is called as a VPC, and the VPC is a virtual private cloud. Okay, VPC stands for virtual private cloud, and S3 is a storage solution. Okay, suppose I want to upload images, files, or for example, when we are developing any kitchen based applications, so there will be static pages will be there and dynamic pages will be there. So when you see any kitchen based or any restaurant based applications, you will see some images. So if you want to order something, they will place on some image for you for attracting the people. So where they are storing in the back end. Okay, so we require one service. So when you are uploading something like a registration form is there, you want to upload your photo, or if you want to change your photo. So when you're clicking in the upload option, when you upload that image, where it is storing actually in the backend part, you are seeing in the front end that image, we are able to see it, but where we are storing that images. Okay, all these things will be like storage solution will be provided by the AWS. That service name is S3. Okay, so whom you want to give access. Okay, so how to take the backup of your data, how to keep your data backups, all these things we can have it in a S3. Okay, so in AWS perspective, we don't have any coding here. Everything it's a configurations. Only one service we have the coding, that is a Lambda function. Okay, so Lambda function we are going to call it as a serverless architecture. Okay, what is meant by serverless architecture? For example, if you have a Java based application is there. So one like so I want to process some data. Okay, for example, we have 100 EC2 servers are running. Okay, so these are all our EC2 service 1, 2, 3, 4, something like 6 plus 2, 8 services are there. So I want to know the information like how many services are running, how many services are stopped, how many services are terminated, how many each EC2 service, how many volumes has been created. Okay, so I want to get the complete information. So we can manually, we can go to the EC2 and we can check it. So count of EC2 services and click on the status is running. If you put the filter, you can see the running services. Okay, so I want to applicable for all the regions I want to do it, not only for the single region. So if you have it, 20 regions are available in AWS, then we can't go for the each and every region. I can't get the information. So there should be a particular logic should be written in order to get the information for all the regions. Okay, so now we have missed one more thing. So before that, we have the regions and availability zones. Okay, so what is meant by region? Region is nothing but if you are working in Bangalore, so base data center, we are going to call it as a data centers. Okay, so data centers is nothing but AWS has established the data centers in different locations. Okay, for example, if you see Mumbai region, AWS has developed, created, established the data center. Okay, so like that around the world, they have their own data centers. Okay, so if you see our AWS thing, if you see this blue color, these are called the Ohio region. Okay, US West, Canada Center. Okay, so let me go log in. You can clear that. Okay, so when you log into the AWS account, so the first important thing we should know about the in which region you are available currently. Okay, so if you see at the right top corner, these are called as the regions. US West, North Virginia, AWS has created data center there. US West Ohio region, US West California, US West Oregon, Asia Pacific Mumbai. So in the Mumbai region, we have the AWS data center are there. The person who is near to the particular data center, generally the people will choose the data center. Suppose we are in the Asia network. Okay, so India will comes under the Asia network. So in the Asia specific, our nearest one is data center is Mumbai. Okay, so like that, these are all the different countries. AWS established their own data centers. Okay, so they have keep on extending their data centers. Okay, so here the main advantage is like, so if we are in the North Virginia, so every region will have the region code. Okay, so if you go for the North Virginia, so the region code is East one. So if you see here, okay, so if you click on the EC2 for the North Virginia region, you can see nothing is available here. We have only security groups is one is available. Okay, so if you are creating EC2 instances, one instance in North Virginia, so this is called as a resource. EC2 is one resource, instance creating is resource, key pair is one resource, security group is one resource, placement groups, volume, snapshot, these are called as a resources. So if you see North Virginia, security groups is one only. So when it comes to the Singapore, I'm in the Singapore region. You can see key pairs is one is there, security groups are T are there. Okay, so here all the resources are region based. Okay, so if you create one EC2 instance in North Virginia, that resources will not be available in Singapore region. Okay, so be careful while doing the work. So the company, what they ask is to be, always you need to check with, suppose you create one resources like EC2 you created here. So for example, you have created a key pair here. For example, they ask you to create one key pair. Okay, you have created a key pair. The key pair name is DevOps batch key pair. So, but after some time you have logged out and logged in. You have created the key pair in Singapore region. Okay, currently I'm in the Singapore region. You can see with the region code also, AP East one. But sometimes what will happen, the people will log into the default, it will be in the North Virginia. When you set up the first time your account, so you will be North Virginia. You will click here and you will see key pair is not there. Okay, so the UN console, everything is same for all the regions. Okay, so the region name which we are selected will always be specific. I have created a key pair in Singapore, but you are trying to look the key pair in the North Virginia region. Okay, so the region you are created are restricted to the region level. Okay, some of the services are region based. Region-based resources versus global-based resources. Region-based resources is nothing but, for example, EC2. So if we go for the EC2, it is a region-based. Each region, we have the US East one is the North Virginia region. So we have the EC2 resources separate. And if you go for the Singapore region, you can see in another tab. Okay, so this is the US East one, North Virginia. Here we are in the Singapore region. Here we can see the one key pair and two security groups. Here we can see 0 key pair and security groups. Okay, the resources are restricted based upon the region. Okay, so there is one more concept called global based. Okay, so global based is nothing but common resource for all regions. Region based is nothing but region, the service will vary. Same service, but the resources can't be same. But if you want to have the global based, means for all the regions, we want only the single service. So that will come under the global. So if you go for the S3, this is it. You can see it's not under the anything. It's a global based one. Okay. It is not restricted to the North Virginia. It is not restricted to the Singapore region, anything. For all the components, if you want to create any resources, so S3 is a storage solution, we can create global one. So in the interview questions, they will ask it. Can you tell what is meant the difference between region versus availability zones? And can you tell some of the services which are region based and some of the services global based? So whenever any clicking any service, if you are seeing the global means that is a global based service. And if you click on something service like any service, if you see particular region name, this service is called as a region based one. Okay. So S3, IAM also global based. Okay. So EC2 is a region based. Okay. So region based versus global based. Global is common service for all the regions, and region based means each region the resources will vary. Okay, that is the difference. Okay, so next coming to the availability zones. Agent we'll call it as shortcut is agents availability zones. Okay, so now we got the, for example, we have the region. For example, this is a Mumbai region. In Mumbai region, this is the data centers. So within the region only, they will divide the main data center into sub data centers. For example, if you take Bangalore, so they can create one data centers in the Martali, and minimum 5 to 6 kilometers, they will create, okay, one more data center in the Bangalore, like that. So we have different data centers are available. So within the region only, there will be sub data centers are there. So these data centers, we are going to call it as a sub data centers. We are going to call it as availability zones. So for each region, there will be minimum 2. Minimum 2 availability zones will be there, and max is 6. Okay. So for each region, the data center is called as a region based one. In the region based, again, they have the sub data centers. So why we have the sub data centers? Why we require this availability zones? For example, if you say, take anything, call centers. So when you call to the some people, suppose we have established our call center in one region. This is a Martali region. We have our call center. Okay. So this is a Martali region. So for example, we have a call center is available in the Martali region. So there is a problem with the network outage in this Martali region. So what will happen? So even if there is any problem with your Martali outage, network outage or network issues has comes, so there is a chance that we can redirect the calls to the another one. Okay. So suppose this is another call center, which is in Banishangari. Okay. So we can forward that request to the other thing. Okay. In order to maintain your application high availability, so that's the reason they have introduced the concept of availability zones. So if there is any problem with this availability zone, okay, so we can redirect the requests to the another availability zones. Okay. Sometimes if you call to the data centers or call centers, if you do, so they will follow the same mechanism. So if you call to the call center, for any call center you take it, so the request if is not able to handle the request by one data center, so they can forward the request to the another data centers. So you will feel that you will getting the call, we will not getting anything. Okay. So you are keeping telling that you are in the queue, you will be redirected that to the queue. Okay. So the backend part, it will be happen like this. Okay. So same data center only, but we have a sub data centers. The range between minimum 2 data centers should be above 5 kilometers. Okay. So within the 5 to 6 kilometers, they will have sub data centers. Okay. So in order to maintain high availability of your application, they have introduced the concept called availability. Okay. So minimum is 2 availability zones will be there, and max is 6. And for North Virginia, we have the 6. Okay, so the region name is this one. Always we have the region name, and availability zones will be 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, 1F. Okay, so this is the region, and these are the availability zones. Okay, like that. So region and availability zones. Okay, I hope everybody is clear in this part. You got a basic understanding of what is AWS, what are the topics in AWS.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so if you have any doubts, I will clarify it. Otherwise, so tomorrow we will see the IAM.
Okay, sir.
Okay, okay. Chalo, bye guys.